Out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
Anthony Joshua was not supposed to make it out of that car crash. That car crash was absolutely done to end his life. That was deliberately done. But when things like that are deliberately done, there have to be other people involved, other casualties involved to make it look like an accident.
It all makes sense now. The sacrifice symbol live and direct.
The stuff happening around Jake Paul's opponents is honestly getting weird. He's fought around 13 people, and almost every single one of them ended up dealing with some kind of major downfall or health issue. We're talking 2 near-death situations, 1 fatal crash, and multiple lives completely falling apart. And all that within just 4 years. And now Anthony Joshua gets into a serious crash in Nigeria just 10 days after fighting Jake. But this is where things start getting real strange. People online are now bringing up those old things Kanye said about sacrifices in the industry. And some are even speculating that Anthony's crash wasn't random at all, that it was meant to take him out, especially since there were rumors he went off script and didn't let Jake win like he was allegedly supposed to. And then there's an even darker theory floating around that Anthony supposedly sold his soul and that the 2 friends who died in the crash were some kind of sacrifice. Some people are also now comparing this to the accident involving former UFC champ Francis Ngannou last year. That accident also happened in Nigeria and resulted in the death of a 17-year-old girl. And guess what? Jake Paul is now publicly saying he wants to fight Ngannou next. So what's really going on here? Was Anthony Joshua's crash really just an accident? Or is there something way more sinister going on around Jake Paul? Social media is absolutely spiraling over Anthony Joshua's car crash, and the theories are getting crazier by the day. And a lot of people are now fully convinced that this wasn't just some random accident. Let me just show you some of the comments. Anthony didn't follow the script and is now being targeted. He's marked because Netflix is involved in the cabal, and the script was for Anthony Joshua, big black man, to lose. A cult sacrifice similar to what happened to Ngannou. Right when you secure the bag, too. It could very well be a freak accident, but it all seemed very performative. From the video I saw, he looked unscathed. I personally think he broke the script, and the money behind it planned to take his life. Him surviving was just a fluke. Maybe they don't now, as it would seem obvious then, or maybe they do, but I would wager something happens in his life that will make him regret stepping out of line. But then some people are taking it in a different direction and saying this wasn't a plot against Anthony. Instead, Anthony supposedly agreed to sacrifice his 2 friends who died in the crash. One fan wrote, "I think everyone's missing the point. I don't think Anthony Joshua was supposed to die. I think he had to pay the price of a sacrifice from people he loved in order to make that money or whatever." A lot of people are dragging that whole sacrifice theory back into the conversation. The one Kanye talked about years ago. He claimed that his own mother Donda was sacrificed for his success, and then went on to name a bunch of people in the industry who allegedly had to lose someone close to them in exchange for fame and power.
My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. Out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
So now fans are side-eyeing everything about Anthony Joshua's accident and wondering if this situation somehow fits into that same pattern. Now, when it comes to the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, there were a lot of weird things happening from the jump. That fight went the way nobody was expecting. The footage is fishy AF, with AJ pulling punches left, right, and center, and in the very early rounds, it looked like he was trying to knock Jake out as gently as he could. And then there's that moment everyone keeps replaying. The look on Jake Paul's face when AJ broke his jaw. People swear he didn't look hurt. He looked shocked, like genuinely stunned. Meanwhile, Joshua was grinning, almost laughing, staring right back at him like he knew something. A lot of fans are saying it didn't look like a normal reaction at all. It looked like someone was realizing the script just got flipped. And now people are asking if this was supposed to be another showbiz fight where Jake walks away the winner, and if maybe Anthony was paid up front to take a fall, but then decided at the last second to do the opposite and teach him a lesson. And now there's also this clip making the rounds showing Jake supposedly telling AJ to stick to the script or else. Now, fans have been speculating for a long time about the so-called Jake Paul curse because the list of things that happened to his opponents just gets uncomfortable. He's fought around 13 people, and a shocking number of them ended up dealing with serious issues. Mike Tyson nearly died shortly before their fight, and he reportedly needed 8 blood transfusions, lost half of his blood from a bleeding ulcer, and was hospitalized for weeks. Nate Robinson basically disappeared after his fight with Jake. Ben Askren nearly died after suffering lung failure. Tyrone Woodley went from being a top fighter to publicly declaring bankruptcy. Tommy Fury's life completely unraveled, his marriage fell apart, and his career tanked. And then Ryan Borland straight up quit boxing and became a plumber. On top of that, people are also pointing out all the weird symbolism around Jake Paul, like his Illuminati-style tattoos. Jake has a large, all-seeing eye tattoo on his chest, and then a bunch of his other tattoos use skulls, demons, or esoteric designs linked to satanic or occult themes. And there's also that tongue thing he does in literally every fight. Someone on X said, "Remember that most recent Jake Paul fight at the end when he was doing the lizard tongue to Joshua? Yeah, that was Jake symbolizing to Joshua that he will later have to answer to the reptilian elites." And someone else wrote, "Call me crazy, but this whole Anthony Joshua incident felt like someone was trying to remind him who really pulls the strings. It's like someone didn't follow the script in the fight, the tongue communication, etc. Maybe someone lost a lot of money, but that's just my humble opinion." And then there's also the number 33 that keeps popping up. Apparently, the first fight was watched by 33 million people, and it was Anthony Joshua's 33rd fight in his professional career. Also, Anthony has a professional boxing record of 29 wins and 4 losses. So 29 plus 4 is... So why does this number 33 keep appearing? Well, sometimes the number is just a number. But then again, when you understand how the elites really operate, you learn you really can't put anything past them. And now the big question everyone's stuck on is this: what really happened here? Was that car crash just a tragic coincidence, or was it something darker? Some people are convinced it was meant to be a warning because Anthony went off script and didn't play his role the way he was supposed to. Others think that it was meant to be much worse, that it was supposed to take his life as some kind of punishment for embarrassing the wrong people on the biggest stage. And then there's the most disturbing theory of all, the idea that Anthony may have done exactly what Kanye claimed happens in the industry, that he sacrificed those closest to him in exchange for success, power, or protection. It sounds insane, but the timing, the coincidences, and the pattern have people spiraling. Or maybe it's none of those things, and people are simply reading way too deep into this. Maybe this was nothing more than a tragic accident, and it was just a coincidence that it happened shortly after AJ's fight with Jake. But what do you think? Was this all part of something bigger and darker, or are people completely losing their minds trying to connect dots that were never there? Drop all your thoughts in the comments, and don't miss this next video.